Worst car brands you should never buy. Some car brands will ruin your wallet, break down on the highway, and make you question why you were even born under a check engine light. These aren't just bad cars. These are financial death traps in disguise. From BMWs that cry oil tears every 3,000 miles, to Jeeps that fall apart faster than your last relationship. We're ranking the worst car brands you should never ever buy. And I'm not kidding. One of these cars literally caught on fire while parked. Another one got vandalized by Mother Nature herself. And one brand? Let's just say it rhymes with land shover and you're gonna wanna run. Let's go from mild regret to why did I ever do this to myself? As we count down the worst car brands in 2025, from meh to mechanical war crimes. Brand number 14, Fiat. Small cars, big headaches. Fiat came back to the US promising fun, stylish city cars. What we got instead? Breakdowns in a compact size. The Fiat 500, their flagship re-entry car, looked quirky and European. But almost immediately, owners started reporting failing power steering units, faulty electrical systems, transmission issues, especially with the Dualogic and ASIN gearboxes. And the problems weren't isolated. In Consumer Reports' 2022 Auto Survey, Fiat ranked dead last in reliability. That's not an exaggeration. It was literally ranked 32 out of 32. The Fiat 500L? That one had the charm of a bread box and the durability of a vending machine. Owners reported engine stalling, suspension rattles, turbocharger failure before 60,000 miles. And maintenance isn't cheap for such a small car. Parts are hard to find. Labor's expensive. And depreciation is so steep, most Fiat models lose half their value within the first 3 years. Unless you're collecting unreliable cars for sport, Fiat is one of the worst daily driver choices in 2025. Brand number 13, Mini. Mini is one of those brands people fall in love with. Go-kart handling, retro design, BMW tech underneath. But the romance usually ends at the repair shop. Mini is owned by BMW, and unfortunately, it inherited some of the same flaws: expensive parts, tight engine bays that make DIY repairs a nightmare, over-engineered components that break sooner than expected. Let's talk about the Mini Cooper S. Fun to drive, sure, but the turbocharged engine has a reputation for oil leaks, carbon buildup, timing chain stretch, especially pre-2015 models. And the CVT automatics in earlier Minis? They're known to fail without warning, sometimes before 70,000 miles. With no rebuild option, just full replacement. That's $4,000 to $6,000 for a car that might not be worth that much used. According to RepairPal, Mini's annual maintenance cost sits around $846, and they get 2 times more unscheduled repairs than the industry average. So yeah, they're stylish. But if you're not ready for the cost of ownership, Mini might leave you wishing you went bigger. Brand number 12, Mitsubishi. But some car brands slowly fade out of relevance. Mitsubishi just forgot to bring anything new. Once a rally legend and tuner favorite, Mitsubishi is now mostly known for mediocre SUVs and outdated tech. The Outlander Sport and Eclipse Cross haven't changed much in years, and it shows. Let's start with performance. Engines are underpowered. The CVTs are sluggish and have a reputation for premature failure, especially in models built between 2015 to 2021. Common complaints include jerky acceleration, overheating during climbs or long drives, and weird noises from the drivetrain by 50,000 to 70,000 miles. Interior quality isn't helping. Thin plastics, poor cabin insulation, and outdated infotainment systems make them feel a generation behind. According to J.D. Power's 2023 rankings, Mitsubishi scored below average in long-term dependability, and resale values continue to fall. Their cars might be cheap up front, but long-term value? Pretty much non-existent. Brand number 11, Dodge. Dodge builds cars that sound great, but owning one? That's when reality redlines. Let's start with what Dodge is best known for: muscle. The Charger, Challenger, and Durango bring power, but that power comes with a price. Their Hemi V8s are fun until the lifters fail, a common issue that leads to camshaft damage and 3,000 plus repairs. Even the Pentastar 5.6, used in Chargers and Durangos, has faced water pump failures and ticking noises that lead to engine teardown. But it's not just engines. Transmissions in older models, especially the 5-speed automatics, have a reputation for slipping gears, clunky shifts, and early failure before 100,000 miles. Build quality has also been hit or miss. Dashboard rattles, fading paint, electronics that glitch. Even newer models like the Hornet have been recalled for software bugs and brake issues within the first year. Dodge might look good in a straight line, but owning one long-term often turns into a reliability burnout. Brand number 10. Nissan. Nissan used to be that underdog everyone rooted for. You had the Maxima, the 350Z, the Altima with just enough horsepower to make your mom feel like she's racing fast and furious Tokyo Drift on the way to Costco. But then, they fumbled the bag. Hard. Because ever since Nissan merged with Renault, things haven't just gone downhill. They've been skidding sideways into a flaming pile of recalls. Let's talk about the CVT, the transmission that's supposed to be smoother than your ex's apologies. Instead, it shreds itself like mozzarella at 90,000 miles. Ask any Sentra or Pathfinder owner. You'll hear the same thing. Slipping gears, jerky rides, dashboard lights doing their own rave party. Fixing that CVT? $4,000 to $5,000. And no, Nissan won't cover it unless you've got some elite-tier patience to fight their customer service. But that's not even the worst part. Nissan's engines? Some burn oil faster than they burn gas. Others leak like a dollar store water bottle. And let's not forget the infamous Takata airbag recall, because nothing says daily commute like an explosive safety feature. Even brand new Nissans are dirt cheap on used lots. That's not because they're a bargain, it's because no one wants them. They're the automotive version of buying expired sushi. Looks fine, until it detonates your week. You think you're saving on fuel economy? Try owning an Armada. It's rated at 16 miles per gallon city, 22 highway. But real owners report 12 miles per gallon city. That's not an SUV. That's a gas-powered guilt trip. Bottom line, if you're thinking of getting a Nissan in 2025, just don't. You're not buying a car, you're adopting a liability. But hey, maybe you're thinking, okay, Nissan flopped, but what if I just go luxury instead? More money equals better quality, right? Wrong. Because brand number 9 proves that spending $60,000 can still get you a car that leaks like a tent in a hurricane. Brand number 9, Land Rover. Land Rover. The badge screams class, but under the hood, it's pure chaos. People buy these things thinking they're getting the British Rolls-Royce of SUVs. Instead, they get a tech demo for how to lose money quietly. Let's talk electrical issues. Everything from power windows to navigation to backup cameras just randomly stops working. The system glitches so hard it makes Windows Vista look stable. And that air suspension, it feels like a cloud. Until it collapses, which it will. Usually when you're parked in front of friends or co-workers. The Evoque, Discovery, Range Rover. Different names, same problems. Leaky sunroofs, water inside the taillights, oil leaks, faulty ECUs. Software recalls that don't even fix the issue, and don't even think about resale value. A $70,000 Range Rover will lose $35,000 in 3 years. That's not depreciation, that's escape velocity. Maintenance, brakes, tires, and basic servicing can run $4,000 to $6,000 per year. That's before anything actually breaks, and it will break. In the 2023 Consumer Reports Reliability Rankings, Land Rover scored second to last, only beating Alfa Romeo and barely. So if you're cool with spending half a Tesla every year just to keep your luxury SUV from becoming a lawn ornament, be my guest. Otherwise, this ain't the flex you think it is. But if you thought luxury meant problems, let's swing to the opposite end. Because there's one brand that isn't pretending to be luxurious. It's supposed to be rugged, reliable, and American tough. But in reality, it might be the most overhyped badge on 4 wheels. Brand number 8, Jeep. Jeep has a cult following, Wrangler drivers waving at each other like it's a secret society of survivors. And honestly, that might be true, because owning a Jeep today means surviving breakdowns, leaks, rattles, and endless trips to the mechanic. Let's get into it. First off, ride quality. Even the new Grand Cherokee feels more like a shopping cart on gravel than a modern SUV. The steering? Vague, sloppy, almost like it's guessing where you want to go. And that iconic Wrangler? Yes, it's great off-road, but as a daily driver, you're getting poor fuel economy, wind noise that drowns out your music, and a turning radius that'll have you doing 3-point turns in drive-thrus. Now let's talk reliability. Jeep consistently ranks in the bottom 10 of most dependability studies. According to Consumer Reports and J.D. Power, the Wrangler and Cherokee are among the least reliable SUVs in their class. The Renegade has had transmission issues for years, and the Gladiator, suspension problems and electrical faults are a common theme. Even the Compass, which is supposed to be their affordable urban option, has had serious issues with gear shifting, electrical gremlins, and stalling engines. And it's not just about repairs, it's the cost. Jeep parts are notoriously overpriced for what you're getting. A new transmission can run $4,000 to $6,000, and you'll still have to deal with cheap plastic interiors that crack and fade, infotainment glitches, and poor insulation that lets in every decibel of wind and road noise. They also haven't had a single model make IIHS top safety picks in over 5 years, which means you're not only uncomfortable, you're unprotected too. Resale value is also dropping. Many 3 to 5-year-old Jeeps are seeing steeper depreciation compared to Toyotas, Hondas, and even some Korean rivals. Bottom line, Jeeps are fun to look at, fun to mod, but when it comes to long-term ownership, they're more of a hobby than a vehicle. Now look, some of you might be thinking, okay, but Jeep is a niche brand, right? Just don't go off-roading and you'll be fine. Fair. But what if the biggest car company in America is also one of the biggest letdowns? Because when a brand this massive starts cutting corners, millions of people pay the price. Brand number 7, GM. General Motors owns Chevrolet, GMC, Cadillac, and Buick. That's a huge slice of the US car market. And sure, they've made some solid vehicles, no one's denying that. But for every hit like the Silverado or Suburban, there's a list of forgotten failures dragging GM's reputation through the mud. Let's start with what owners complain about most: build quality. We're talking flimsy interior plastics, buttons that wear off in a year, center consoles that creak like 20-year-old furniture. Even brand new vehicles sometimes leave the lot with misaligned panels or door seals that whistle on the highway. And that's just the surface. Under the hood, things get worse. GM's infamous 4L60E transmission had failure written all over it for years. And then there's the Northstar V8, an engine that practically became a meme for head gasket failures and overheating issues. Even newer models haven't escaped scrutiny. The Chevy Traverse has ongoing complaints about timing chain tensioners. The Equinox suffers from excessive oil consumption. And several Silverado and Sierra trucks still have driveshaft vibration issues that GM's quietly downplaying. You'd think recalls would help, but GM only seems to react when forced. Take the 2014 ignition switch scandal. 2.6 million vehicles. Faulty ignition switches that could turn the engine off while driving, disabling airbags. And they knew about it for over a decade. Result: 124 deaths, $900 million in fines, and a lot of customers who never came back. Their more recent recalls are just as concerning: brake vacuum pump failures, faulty seatbelts, airbag sensors misfiring, electrical short circuits. And if you do get hit with one of these problems, don't expect red carpet treatment. GM's customer service has been called slow, unhelpful, and borderline dismissive. Warranty claims often turn into finger-pointing matches between dealers and corporate. In the end, you're the one stuck paying. Look, GM has the resources to be great, but too often they rely on legacy branding while letting quality slide. And when the problems show up, the fix usually isn't fast or cheap. Now here's a twist. You'd think car brands with fewer models would get things right more often. Fewer cars, fewer problems, right? But no, because the next brand barely makes anything anymore and still manages to mess it up. Brand number 6, Chrysler. Chrysler is a name most people associate with the past. Minivans, boxy sedans, and presidential limos. But in 2025, they're not delivering nostalgia. They're delivering breakdowns. Let's start with the Chrysler Pacifica, one of the few minivans still on the market. Looks decent, rides smooth, and it's loaded with features. But under the surface, it's a reliability nightmare. According to Consumer Reports and RepairPal, the Pacifica Hybrid has chronic issues with its battery and charging systems, multiple recalls for engine stalling, infotainment glitches that freeze mid-drive, and transmission sensors that misfire and throw false error codes. And if you own one from around 2017 to 2020, You've probably dealt with one of the 15-plus recalls, from powertrain failures to rollaway risk due to a faulty gear selector. Even the basic gas-powered Pacifica isn't safe. Thousands of units were recalled for faulty cruise control software that made the car accelerate on its own. Another round of recalls involved defective battery cables that could cause sudden shutdowns on the highway. Let's move on to the 300 sedan, one of the last big American rear-wheel drive sedans on the market. Sounds cool, but it's plagued with problems: premature suspension wear, unresponsive steering racks, and that outdated Uconnect infotainment system that feels like it was coded in 2012. But perhaps the biggest issue with Chrysler right now is this: there's no long-term vision. They've been passed around more times than a group project, from Daimler to Cerberus to Fiat, and now under Stellantis. And with every handover, things got worse. Corners cut, materials cheapened, engineering rushed. The brand is surviving, not thriving. Customer service is slow, warranty support inconsistent at best, and many Chrysler owners report being told it's normal when their car clearly isn't behaving like it should. The result? Low resale value, high maintenance costs, and a reputation that's gone from classic American car to just avoid it altogether. Now here's the irony: Chrysler cuts corners and breaks down. No one's shocked. But what happens when a brand known for engineering, praised for performance, and priced like a status symbol can't hold itself together past 80,000 miles? Because this next brand doesn't just break the bank, it makes you pay for the privilege of owning problems. Brand number 5, BMW. Let's get something straight. BMWs are a dream to drive. Sharp handling, powerful engines, interiors that feel premium, and that badge? It turns heads. But once the honeymoon phase ends, reality hits hard. Most BMWs, especially the 3 Series, 5 Series, and X5, come loaded with complex engineering, which is great until something fails. And instead of a simple fix, you're looking at labor-intensive, dealer-only jobs that can run into the thousands. Take the N20 and N26 engines, for example, widely used in the 2012 to 2017 3 and 5 series, known for timing chain failures, sometimes as early as 60,000 miles. If it snaps, the engine's toast. The fix? $5,000 to $7,000 depending on where you live. The N63 V8, found in higher-end models like the 750i and X5, is even worse. Excessive oil consumption, cracked valve stems, battery drain issues that can literally kill your car overnight. It got so bad, BMW had to launch the N63 customer care package just to stop owners from revolting. And it's not just engines. BMW's cooling systems, water pumps, thermostats, expansion tanks are notorious for failing around the 70,000 mark. It's a pattern: coolant leak, overheat, blown gasket, empty savings account. Their suspension? Firm, responsive, and prone to bushing wear, control arm failure, and noisy sway bars. Let's talk about tech. iDrive used to be cutting edge. Now it's laggy, glitch-prone, and occasionally freezes mid-drive. And God forbid you own a model with those gesture controls, because waving your hand near the screen might accidentally skip 5 songs and crank the AC. Then there's the resale cliff. That $75,000 M3 you bought new, worth $28,000 in 5 years. Not because it's a bad car to drive, but because everyone knows how expensive they are to maintain after 60,000 miles. Don't just take my word for it. BMW ranks below average in Consumer Reports' long-term reliability. RepairPal gives it a 2.5 out of 5 reliability rating. The average annual maintenance cost? $968, far above the industry average. So yeah, BMW builds cars that perform, but if you don't have the budget to maintain one like a performance machine, you're gonna wish you bought something a little more boring and a lot more reliable. So maybe BMW sounds like a risk, but you still want that luxury status, something smoother, quieter, classier. Well, here's the trap. You climb the ladder from sport luxury to executive luxury, and still end up with a dashboard full of warning lights and a glove box full of receipts. Because the next brand mastered prestige, but struggles with aging in peace. Brand number 4, Mercedes-Benz. There's no denying it, Mercedes feels like luxury. When new, it's one of the smoothest rides you'll ever experience. Quiet cabins, tech-forward interiors, rock-solid presence on the road. But owning a Mercedes past the warranty period, that's when the story changes. Let's start with what changed over time. Back in the 80s and early 90s, Mercedes built tanks, literally. Those older diesels are still on the road today. But around the early 2000s, Mercedes shifted to cost-cutting and overcomplication, and it hasn't fully recovered since. Here's where the problems start. Water-based paint introduced in the 2000s led to widespread rust issues. Air suspension systems, Airmatic, fail often, with repairs costing $1,500 to $3,000 per axle. Dual-clutch gearboxes and 7 G-tronic automatics are sensitive to missed service intervals and can fail unexpectedly. And don't forget the electronic systems. Mercedes packs its cars with tech, ambient lighting, gesture controls, voice recognition. But that means more things to break. It's common to see issues with the infotainment screens going black, keyless entry faults, digital dashboards freezing or misreading info. The E-Class and C-Class are the most common offenders. On the outside, executive perfection. Under the hood, oil leaks, cracked PCV valves, turbo failures. The GLE and GLS SUVs look amazing on the lot, but once those air suspension bags deflate, and they will, you're left with an SUV that leans like a drunk pirate and rides like a brick. Even basic maintenance is pricey. Spark plug replacements can run $600 plus. Brake jobs easily go past $1,200. And don't be surprised if a service light triggers a $3,000 dealer visit. In terms of reliability, Mercedes ranks below average in J.D. Power's 2023 Vehicle Dependability Study. RepairPal gives it a 3 out of 5, with an average yearly maintenance cost of $908. Their models show up frequently on Consumer Reports' least reliable luxury cars list. And that's not even getting into depreciation. Luxury loses value fast, but Mercedes, some models drop by 50 to 60% in just 5 years. Your $70,000 E-Class could be worth $30,000 before your first full brake job, one software glitch at a time. Brand number 3, Jaguar. Jaguar builds beautiful cars. The curves, the presence, the old-school British elegance, it's all there. On the outside, a Jag looks like the kind of car a CEO might drive. But on the inside, it feels more like a beta version of something that wasn't ready for release. Let's get specific. Jaguar's Ingenium engine series, especially in diesel models, has been a problem from the start. Reports of cracked cylinder heads, excessive oil dilution due to faulty DPF regen cycles, and timing chain failures even in cars with less than 50,000 miles. And then there's the electronics. Infotainment screens that freeze or reboot mid-drive, backup cameras that lag, instrument clusters that flicker or go blank entirely. Jaguar's own In-Control Touch Pro system has been called buggy, even by loyal owners, and that's being polite. One of the most commonly affected models is the Jaguar F-Pace. It checks every box for modern luxury on paper. SUV, performance badge, sleek interior. But in practice, it's been hit with 12+ manufacturer recalls, complaints about battery drain, overheating, and non-responsive key fobs, suspension components wearing out way too early. And while Jaguar tries to position itself as a premium brand, the materials inside tell a different story. Some owners report dashboard peeling after 3 to 4 summers, buttons fading, door trim coming loose. Let's talk numbers. Jaguar ranked 29th out of 32 brands in Consumer Reports' 2023 reliability study. RepairPal lists the average yearly maintenance cost at $1,123. And there's a 14% chance that any repair could be classified as severe, well above industry average. Even more frustrating, parts availability. Simple repairs can take weeks because Jaguar service centers are few and far between, especially in North America. And when parts do arrive, they're often dealer only and marked up heavily. All this means one thing: Jaguar is great on a lease. It's not meant to be kept long-term, because once it's out of warranty, you're paying out of pocket for luxury-level problems without always getting luxury-level quality. Some car brands lose trust overnight. Others, like this one, earn it slowly, then burn it in a scandal. Brand number 2, Volkswagen. Volkswagen has 2 reputations. Globally, it's known for German engineering. In the US, it's better known for check engine lights and complicated repairs. Let's start with the elephant in the showroom, Dieselgate. In 2015, Volkswagen admitted to installing illegal software in over 11 million diesel vehicles to cheat emissions tests. The fallout? Over $30 billion in fines and buybacks. long-term brand damage in North America, and an entire generation of drivers who swore off VW for good. But even if you ignore that scandal, VW still struggles with long-term reliability. Take the Jetta and Passat, two of their most popular sedans. Both have been plagued with oil consumption issues, failing timing chain tensioners, and fragile plastic cooling system components that crack and leak prematurely. The Tiguan, VW's compact SUV, suffers from turbo lag and wastegate rattle, delayed throttle response, and constant check engine codes tied to sensors or fuel trims. And then there's the electronics. Volkswagen's infotainment systems are infamous for glitchy software, Bluetooth failures, screens freezing mid-reverse camera view, random reboots while driving. The complexity of VW's engineering often works against the average driver. For example, oil changes require specialized filters and torque specs. Even basic jobs like replacing a headlight can require bumper removal on some models. Many independent shops hesitate to work on them due to part costs and layout complexity. When something breaks, it's not always what breaks, it's how hard it is to fix. VW parts often need to be imported, meaning long wait times and premium costs. Let's talk numbers. RepairPal gives VW a 3 out of 5 reliability rating, with an average annual repair cost of $676. Consumer Reports ranked multiple VW models below average in their most recent owner satisfaction and dependability reports. Common repairs like timing chain service or mechatronic unit replacement on DSG transmissions can exceed $2,500. Even resale is a mixed bag. Early depreciation is steep, especially for diesel and turbo models, largely due to reliability fears and expensive post-warranty ownership. So while Volkswagens can drive well, offer solid performance, and look refined, that appeal fades fast once maintenance starts stacking up. Some brands are great when new, but with Audi, the problems don't show up at the test drive. They show up after your warranty ends. Brand number 1, Audi. Let's be honest, Audi builds stunning cars, sharp designs, sleek interiors, clean user interfaces, and Quattro, one of the best all-wheel drive systems ever made. But underneath all the design and performance, Audi ownership has a pattern. It starts with excitement, then slips into expensive maintenance, electrical gremlins, and long wait times for repairs. Let's start with mechanical reliability. Audi shares a lot of components with Volkswagen. Same parent company, same issues, but the parts are often more expensive. The EA888 engine, used in A3, A4, Q3, Q5, has known issues with oil consumption, PCV valve failures, and timing chain tensioner failures. The 2.0-liter turbo in older A4s and Q5s is especially problematic after 60,000 to 80,000 miles. Many owners report water pump failures, often made of plastic, that can cost $1,000 plus to replace. Then there's the electronics. Audi's advanced features, digital cockpit, virtual dash, MMI navigation, matrix headlights, look futuristic, but they're also fragile. Common issues include glitchy sensors, parking assist, lane keep, adaptive cruise, digital clusters freezing or displaying errors, rear view cameras cutting out, and infotainment systems that crash or restart on their own. The Audi Q5, one of their most popular models, has had multiple complaints for drivetrain vibration, coolant leaks, rear differential noise, DSG transmission hesitation or jerking in lower gears. Meanwhile, the A6 and A7, which sell as midsize executive cars, have been hit with suspension component failures, S-tronic gearbox fluid leaks, costly adaptive headlight malfunctions. Now here's where it adds up. Audi's average annual repair cost is around $987, according to RepairPal. And it's not just the cost, it's the frequency. Audi vehicles tend to need more unscheduled repairs per year than most European rivals. Out of warranty? Something as simple as a power window motor or headlight control module can cost $700 to $1,200 depending on labor and part availability. Then there's dealership service. Limited in many regions, expensive in every region, and you'll likely wait days or even weeks for parts on older models. Not ideal when your car is stuck in limp mode or flashing errors across the dash. Resale isn't forgiving either. After 5 years, most Audi models drop 50 to 60% in value, which means you're losing value and still on the hook for high repair costs. Audi delivers style, performance, and prestige, no doubt. But long-term ownership? It's not built for budget-conscious drivers. Unless you're leasing or staying under warranty, you're stepping into luxury that can quietly bleed your wallet dry. So after all that, you might be wondering, are there even any good brands left? Well, yes, but only if you know what to look for. Every brand on this list had potential. Some still look great. Some drive beautifully when new. But that's the problem. Longevity, reliability, and cost of ownership matter way more than flashy tech or smooth leather. Let's recap a few key takeaways. Nissan builds budget cars that often come with premium repair bills due to CVT failures and oil-burning engines. Land Rover looks like luxury, but ages like milk. Electrical issues, suspension failures, and brutal depreciation. Jeep may be iconic, but it's rarely dependable, with safety ratings and build quality that haven't kept up. GM and Chrysler struggle with consistency and still carry reliability baggage from decades of rushed engineering. And with European luxury brands like BMW, Mercedes, Jaguar, VW, and Audi, what you gain in performance, you often lose in long-term value unless you're ready to spend big on maintenance. It's not about avoiding cars that look cool or drive well. It's about being realistic with what you're getting into. Because a $30,000 deal that turns into a $6,000 repair marathon isn't a deal, it's a trap. And while these brands aren't always a disaster, the odds aren't in your favor if you're keeping the car past warranty, buying used, or trying to avoid premium repair bills. Now that we've seen the worst brands to avoid, it's time to flip the script. The most reliable car brands of 2025, cars that last 200,000 plus miles, cars that protect your wallet instead of draining it. And yes, there are still a few left. So if you're serious about making your next car one that actually lasts, click the next video or stick around and we'll break it all down.